On today's episode of Unlicensed Therapy with Swirl, the unlicensed therapist, I pulled one of the emails that one of my listeners sent me, and we're going to talk about knowing when to let go so you can start your healing process. It's many times that we hold on to situations and relationships too long, trying to fix them where we end up compromising ourselves and the other individual compromising themselves to no avail because you still get the same results, the things that were causing you to want to be away from that individual. So today we're going to talk about letting go so that you can heal on Unlicensed Therapy with Swerve, the Unlicensed Therapist. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unlicensed Therapy with Swirl, the Unlicensed Therapist. Like I said in the intro, I pulled this one straight off the email. Um, I'm going to talk about the situation. The individual will remain anonymous. So this individual currently is separated. They're separated. Them and their spouse are separated, and they're still trying to work it out. But it just seems that no matter what either one of them do, they cannot meet in the middle. And we often, a lot of us have run into situations like this, be it a spouse or be it a friend, where we hold on to that situation because we value, the relationship has value. And with that, it's kind of harder to let go so you can start healing because you're attached to it with a lot of like memories, emotions, and everything like that. But at that same time, you're losing yourself in the process of trying to fix something that is clearly broken. And what I say to that is sometimes it's easier to let go so that you can start healing. Now, I'm not saying that after you go through your healing process, you can't revisit that. I'm not saying that because sometimes you have to heal in order to learn how to love again. And not to say that that person might not be who you should be with, but maybe they're not who you should be with at the time because you're still dealing with some things. It's a lot of baggage. I got a note. I got one. I put something in my notes. I'm about to pull it up, and I heard somebody say this, and it resonated. It resonated with me, and it said that when you clean your board, your relationships don't leave remnants. You know what I'm saying? So what basically what it's saying is when you erase that chalkboard, when you leave that relationship, don't leave the remnants on there when you start fresh. And this is the same type of situation because you can't erase that board if you're steady adding stuff to it, adding plus signs, adding minus signs, adding division signs, because that's what you're doing when you're trying to work on the relationship and you're not getting anywhere with it. You're not meeting in the middle. There's no compromise on it. Now, the hard part is going to be to let go. Because, like I said, you're attached to the individual. You see, it's memories there, it's emotion there, but you're losing yourself. What I said to this individual, because I spoke with them on a personal level, I told them that you're going to have that hard conversation and you two are going to have to agree on letting go. And I know it's going to be hard for anyone, but we can do it. People do it every day. And, we're not any different. We got to make that hard decision. You got to make that hard decision. Now, let me say it's not necessarily a relation. Let's talk about that job, right? I had a job and I always reference myself because, you see a lot of people where they talk about other people, but they never put themselves in the mix. Like with me, my job, I had my business going part time, then I had my job, but the job became became complacent. And y'all know that's a big thing for me, all my fellow listeners that's following me. Complacency is a killer. And when you become complacent, it's not it's I ain't gonna say you're giving up, but you're just satisfied. And my OG Carlos, he always said, never be satisfied because when you're satisfied, you quit doing. And so when it comes to a relationship, when you're trying to work things out and you're not together, but you're not getting anywhere, It's the complacency that makes you want to work harder to try to make it work, but you got to let it go. Because if you're not healing, how do you move on? That's the question I want you to ask yourself. If I can't heal, how do I move on? And move on doesn't necessarily have to be not having any kind of interaction with them, especially if you have kids involved, or if you have, something in that's a common denominator, not a common denominator, but that y'all share. It's harder to do that. But to me, I would say what they call it a come to Jesus meeting. Have a come to Jesus meeting, make that hard decision, and start your healing. I think there are a lot of hurt individuals that move from one situation to another because they didn't clean their board. They're bringing all that bad stuff with them, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to run into the same situation and this new situation because they did not heal. And healing has no time frame on it. Healing can take years, honestly. You know, it's just you have to decide, or you have to know it. You'll know it when you see it. Let me just say that. But a lot of people, we're not giving ourselves an opportunity to heal because we feel like we can't do. I can't do it without this person. I can't do it without this. I can't do. I can't do. That's the hard. That's probably the worst word in the dictionary is can't, because you're not giving yourself an opportunity to try. And when you try, you never know how. You never know what comes out. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you're finding yourself in a situation where you know deep down in your heart that you got to let the situation go so that you can heal, but you're holding on to it, go with your instincts, go with the intuition, let it go. Start your process. It's a hard process. It's an ugly process. It's going to require self-reflection. It's going to require accountability. And those are the two main things that I think holds a lot of people back because they're never wrong. Everybody knows that person that's never wrong. And that motherfucker that's never wrong is a liar because everybody's wrong. Everybody needs to take accountability for something. Everybody needs to take look at some self-reflection. I had to look at myself. You know what I'm saying? It's February I think it was the 4th. I've been with my wife for 26 years. And the only way we made it through the 26 years is both of us had to do some self-reflection. Both of us had to do some accountability. And by doing so, we created longevity in our relationship. And we've had that come to Jesus meeting. We've had those talks where we wanted to both throw in our hats. I like that. We want to throw in the hats, but we didn't. You know what I'm saying? We stayed with it because we were able to find that common ground. And when you have that come to Jesus meeting, that's when you're able to work things out, when you're really honest with each other. I'm not gonna lie. Did I fall out of in 26 years? Have I fallen out of love with my wife? Yes. Did I fall back in love with her? Yes, absolutely. I tell people now our relationship is on cruise control because we love being around each other. But it's because we had that come to Jesus meeting. We had that talk when we felt like I'm out. We had to have that talk, and we were able to find some common ground. We were able to find some I can't even think of the word now, some compromises with one another. But we didn't compromise one another. That's the key. Compromise, but don't compromise yourself. And we were able to do that. And now, we just celebrated in September 20 plus years of being married. But yeah, so what I say to the individual that sent me the email, the individual that I talked to personally, what I say to you is what I say to the individual that I from the email that I talked to personally, have that conversation. Be completely honest with your significant other so that you guys can either find a compromise to make it work or move on so that you can start healing. That's going to be the most important part because it's been years of, um, you know, compromising yourself, compromising. They're compromising their self and they're losing their self in that process. And once you start doing that, you forget the person that you were, you forget the person that they were, and that's how you fall out of love with someone. Have that conversation, be honest, self reflect, do some accountability, and make that decision. I want to thank y'all again for listening to Unlicensed Therapy with Swirl, your unlicensed therapist.